Welcome, everybody, to our agency call. Today is Monday, March 29th, and I am super fired up for today's call for a number of reasons. Records broken, and I am unbelievably excited to have the one, the only Marc Meade on the call, who I get to have the pleasure of working with in a professional and personal capacity. And I am really fired up to hear the knowledge bombs he's going to drop, spitting some fire on our group today. But as always, let's start with some recognition. First of all, through 3 weeks in March, team issue paid $523,797 with 93 writers. We are clicking at our highest writer count we've had, which is super exciting, guys. Keep up the good work. Some personal production, issue paid recognition. Here's Steven, the Italian Stallion Giordano, pulled up for the 1 seed through 3 weeks, 54,903. Chris, the Cop Wasserman, 46,141. Stephanie Cover, Superwoman herself, 28,261. Mario Guajardo, 25,257, coming in at number 4. And Orlando No Pain, No Gain Pain, 24,357. Now, the top 5 manager groups this week: Steve Giordano at $250,000, Health and Wealth. Jesse Parley with $118,392 with FFL Avenues. Alex Labrija, FFL Third Coast, coming in that 3 spot at $69,176. Insurance Trust with Steph Cover, $61,477. And Benjamin Roberts, the Resurrector with FFL Dynamic, $61,159. Great job, guys. Keep up the good work. Now, most exciting, we shattered our personal submit record this past week. This is actually not an updated slide. We had an extra $35,000 of submitted production. We submitted almost $400,000 of production last week. Unbelievable job, guys. Congratulations. So top 20 of the 65 agents, 254 apps submitted last week. David W. coming in at that number 1 spot, 44,900. Great job, David W. Steve Giordano, 30,271. Jesse Parley with a monster week, 25,434. Great job, Jess. Chris Wasserman, 21,260. Steph Cover, 15,199. Melissa Bridges, 14,920. Great work, Melissa. Ben Roberts, 14,513. Christina B, 13,718. Connor H with a monster week. I think this might be your personal best. Great job, Connor. Keep up the good work. You actually submitted another 10,000 over the weekend, so I'm excited to see how your back half plays out. 12,218. Garrett D, 11,753. Orlando No Pain No Gain, 10,541. Erica B, 7,395. Julie Mung, 7,020. Alex Labrija, 6,696. Raheem W, 6,060. Chanel F, 6,050. Tier B, 5,780. Stacy Pollock with a good week here. Great job, buddy. 5,628. Jose T, 5,199. And Lee Harrison rounding out the top 20 at 4,620. Great job, guys. Now, this is the championship round of March Madness. I want to tell you how proud of you I am, guys. This tournament, 4-week month in March, we submitted a record-shattering $1.1 million of new business. Incredible job, guys. This is a milestone for us. Let's keep up the great work. So in the championship round, up for grabs is $2,500 in lead credits. Steve and I are super excited about this. It's unbelievable. Our 2 top leaders, Steph Cover versus Chris Wasserman in the championship. This weekend was a big weekend for Steph. She's ahead of Chris by about 3,000. I know he's loaded up for this back half here. Super fired up to see how you two perform. Steph, I want to see you win this thing. I think this would be so good for you. I know Chris is going to kill me for saying this. He's ready to go. He's saying he can beat you. I don't think he can do it, Steph. So let's have a big second half here. Now, without further ado, let's knock it out with Marc. I'm so excited to have him on the call. Let me cut this screen share out here. Marc, do I have you on the call?
Got me, brother. You got me fired up. That's what you got. You sound like a radio. You sound like a sports announcer with this March Madness deal. I love that, man. Steph Cover versus Chris Wasserman. I like it.
Secret picks throughout the bracket. I just didn't want to tell anybody. This is exactly what I thought would shake out. So congratulations to you guys. Now, I want to introduce you here, Marc. So I met Marc 2 years ago. I was not ready to make the jump to come to FFL. I met Marc, and I have met very few people with a more impressive story, more impressive testimony to overcoming adversity. Marc did everything, not necessarily the hard way, but with no help, forged his way, forced success. Marc is will you be a council member this month?
No, I think executive board member. It's 4 million. It changes at 5 million, I think.
Does it? Well, regardless, Marc is a beast. You guys, of all the people on the call, I don't know if anybody's actually met Marc. His story is amazing, and I wanted to have him on the call again. He was one of our first guests. Reason I wanted to have him on the call is to not only do an interview with you, Marc, but I know you're super fired up about FFL, Apex, and health and wealth. What Q2 has in store for us, and what you're most excited about. What keeps the fire lit under you to continue to grow? You've had explosive growth. You've grown about 100% in the last 6 months. That's amazing. And I want you to share with everybody, what they should be excited about from your standpoint, and some things that maybe I miss on a weekly basis. And you're one of the best speakers, best motivators that I've had the pleasure of working with. So, Marc, you're a founding member of FFL. You started from the very beginning. What do you see now in the opportunity that's different from when you started?
That's great, man. First off, thanks, Rob, for having me. Apex, Health and Wealth, all the agencies on here. This is a joy to see, like your numbers, your explosion, the call, the structure of the call, and just how awesome it is for you guys to, be dominating the way you are. And to me, this was a fait accompli. Like this was a when, not an if. I mean, so we're now heading into that stage where a lot of the people that are in this organization are getting the recognition they deserve for doing the things that help people. You know what I mean? And that's what we do. So honestly, Rob, to answer your question, the difference between then and now is completely night and day. I mean, the fact that, someone now can basically be trained up from their own computer as opposed to having to go somewhere is way different than it's ever been. I mean, the system is automated. The system is on. It's just so much content, so much. What we have now, is that me, Rob?
It's not. I'll have somebody get on that.
Okay. What we have now. Everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. What we have now versus what we had then is we have the ability for a producer. Back then, we didn't have as many success stories. There were only a few of us killing it. So the transfer of belief was much harder than it is today. Right now, you got agencies coming in, and in 90 days, they're at $500,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, how is this possible? Transfer of belief,
Last 2 years look completely different. When I met you 2 years ago, there like 10,000 a week was the standard.
Right.
I started to do 25,000 a week, and it was like, what is happening? Now that's not even a good week. We got Easton, there's, Jake Conan, we got Porcina and Steve, David writing 44,900 in a week. And this just becomes the practice. I think not only is the content available, and you can second this or challenge it if it's not right, but man, the lead resources that are available now to people eliminates any excuse for lack of productivity and lack of activity.
Yeah. And that's a huge piece, because the amount of leads that are now in the CRM that are available for purchase, I have more people calling me every day saying they love the 90-day-old instant internet leads, the 30-day-old. Why? Yeah. Because they're like, dude, these people are no longer being called. They never got the information done, never got it filled out. I mean, I don't know if you saw the John Mazzella post this weekend, but the very idea that he can call in an instant internet lead and she can go, I'm not interested. And he goes, so are you not interested, or are you just getting a lot of calls? Like,
that's awesome.
No, I'm getting a lot of calls, so I'm not interested. Wouldn't it be, aren't you biting your nose to spite your face if you hang up on me? Yeah, sort of. Okay, well, let's just kind of walk through it. Meaning, like, that lead was $11, bro. He wrote 176 bucks. So we used to say, you spend 1,000, you're gonna write 10. Now it's starting getting close to, like, if you spend 400, you're gonna write 10,000. That ratio differential is different, which creates a different risk profile, which allows more people to jump in on the fun. I saw another guy went out to St. Louis, wrote 20 grand in all internet leads.
So let's pause for a second and back up. And I love what you're saying. Look, we have to encourage the engagement and the participation on social media. Like John's post, what you just said, I don't know if the 68 people, 70 people that are on this call, hopefully it'll get up to 80 in the next 5 minutes here. They'll get to see how much value there truly is from stalking these different pages, and the participation and the engagement there. That's like a textbook in itself. That little one you just said, are you actually not interested, or are you just getting a lot of calls?
Correct.
That's actionable. That's implementable. Like, as soon as we hang up, everybody on this call is dialing 1 month, 90-day-old instant internet leads, needs to put that in their script. Like,
right. And I think that, the page engagement is the page engagement across the FFL has been a game changer. Meaning, if you have agents and you're not recognizing them through the agent recognition site, by the way, everyone's logo, I don't care what team you're on through Apex, your logo is in there. If you don't have your own agent recognition site, you can use the one we created. Your logo's in there. Go in there and recognize your people. Dude, if you're not recognizing your people, they're not getting recognized. I was down in Dallas, 4 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, and I was talking to you, Rob, and you were giving me good feedback about what we can do from an agency recognition standpoint, which is true. And it's like, I wasn't offended. I'm like, I literally did this with my hands. Like, I'm listening.
You did
Tell me, I need the feedback, and then we change it right away. It's like, we go from, dude, if the agencies aren't getting recognized, that's on us. We're recognizing agents like crazy, but guess what? So then we just changed it. We started making agency recognition graphics for best weeks and best months, and it's been a game changer. It creates
shout-outs are addicting.
Yeah, dude, how are you not this? So when you say what's different, okay, well, it's the use of social media. In 2014, we did not use social media, and it had been out. We just were dinosaurs. We didn't really start using social media correctly till like 2018, if I can be honest. So you're talking 4 or 5 years of not a lot of that force of engagement, where social media is a machine. And I have people that have come up to me and go, I don't have a Facebook account. I'm like, well, you're missing out on a lot. Well, I'm on there. I just don't, I don't like to do. I'm like, you don't like to do what? High five people that are doing well? You know what I mean?
Moral of the story is, let's get engaged on the Tri-State page, on Slack, on the different, look, it doesn't even need to be Tri-State. Let's get engaged on every single page. It's a 101 on how to sell and how to be successful.
Correct. You look at Trey Honeycutt. Andrew Taylor dropped a post this weekend about, Trey's $50,000 bonus. Started from $15 an hour to $50,000 in a month. Dude, that stuff is game changing. And giving and saying and high-fiving Trey is game changing for you, because it's like you're releasing good energy out there. So lots changed, man, but it's a machine right now.
Let's talk about the laser focus that you had when you were in the field. Let's rewind, if you can even remember that many years back, on what it felt like to be on the pavement, pounding it, bloodying your knuckles, making the dials. Let's break down your mindset and how you built $1 million agency. Your story is a great one. You were a top producer, so there's no excuse here. What I love about your story, and what I hope for you to hit on, is that, yes, it's possible. There is enough time in the day to be a big producer and to build a big business. Let's talk about how you allocated your resources, your money versus your business's money.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like, for me, I always wanted more. I always wanted to be a part of a business that could impact people. But I couldn't find the right model. And then insurance came along, and I didn't know this. I'm going to go a little deeper than maybe even you thought. But Integrity Marketing Group, which I'm sure you're going to get here at some point, just acquired a company called Brokers International, which that guy, Roger McCarty, who's no longer here, God rest his soul, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this IMO structure. So that guy fought through all the red tape with all the insurance carriers to create the IMO model that we know today that allows for agents to hire agents. So I was a product of that and didn't know it. But that's what I wanted, Rob. I wanted the ability to hire people, but not my income not be derived, especially early, based on what they did. Because I knew that if I could sell myself, I could pay my bills and I wouldn't have to worry about what anyone else did. And I could delay my gratification on what was going to come on the business building side. But I knew that if I could delay my gratification by selling what I could sell myself, I didn't need the overrides, which allowed me to continue to be selfless over here. Because I didn't need that much money to live. I didn't upgrade my lifestyle at all.
Was that a struggle for you?
Hmm?
Was it a struggle for you mentally to not upgrade your lifestyle to focus on delayed gratification?
I can tell you why, but no, it wasn't. I had come through a season where I had been in debt for so long. I had learned. I got in debt by that being a struggle. I got out of debt by that not being a struggle. So I trained my mind over 6 to 8 years to not need anything, which to this day I still use. I do very little that's not necessary in my personal life. In the business world, I always knew scared money don't make money. So there's two different, that you take this brain, we split it down. You got the personal side, that's like, I'm good. Then you got the business mind, I'm like, if we don't pour more gasoline, this thing's not gonna get bigger. So I would take resources and take globs of resource and pour it back in the business because it's the only way I knew that it was going to get bigger. And in this business, you can invest money in really 4 real places that are going to pay you back a return and help you build something. Staff, leads, marketing, and then I'm going to put office, because office is such a fixed expense. But office is the place where people can have a home base and come to. It's a place for staff to work out of and feel like they actually have jobs and they're not working from their house. So those are the only 4 places you can actually put money and triage how good or bad it's doing. But the cool thing is you get to look at it and see what's happening. So
scared money doesn't make money.
Scared money don't make money, bro.
So when you start to make money, don't be scared to put that back in your business is in a nutshell saying, yeah.
You can't make more.
You can't make more. You can't duplicate your money if you're putting your money in a savings account, not making any money.
100%. There's no return on this. I don't know what the return is nowadays on the savings account, but last I checked, they're not giving one. Right. So I knew that. And by the way, I've been in a lot of different businesses. I've never seen returns like this. So not getting a return early didn't matter. Knowing that a return was going to come one day, because it was just about how many people we could bring in, how many people we could help. That's it. That's all it was, because I was writing $60,000 a month. It didn't matter what, Rob, if I hired you, it didn't matter what you did or didn't do. I want you to win. I'm hoping you win. I don't control whether you win or not. You do. Right. The only way to offset that is by hiring a bunch of you.
So let's dive into that, right? So we got builders on here. We got Tierre, we have Orlando, with Steve, Steph, Chris, who are all big producers on here. And then there's going to be people that are surfacing that we don't even know that are on this call. When you're producing at that level, the ability to play from strength rather than relying on other people that you can't really control, that's the biggest thing. And then you can allow your business to grow organically with what you just said. Like, you didn't need it. It didn't matter if I performed or not, because you had enough money to fund your business, pay your bills, and whatever else came was just more gas to throw on the fire.
Correct. And that was the entire, even Sean Mike early on was nervous with how much I was putting back in. I mean, because he cares, right? So I'm talking to him.
Started spending $100,000 a month.
Say it again.
You very quickly started to spend $100,000 a month.
I mean, it was what it was, but I knew that. Now it was different then too. Like, we were buying direct mail leads and buying direct mail leads for agents. you can actually control your expenses. Don't have to be as crazy as mine were today too. So that's another positive of how different it is. Today, staff and marketing is it. Like
We're going to label our fixed costs that you encourage business builders to have. Your fixed costs are the four that you mentioned: leads, staff, marketing, office.
Marketing is a variable cost.
Okay.
Office is fixed, staff is fixed, leads are variable, depending on how leads are variable. So marketing and leads are variable, office and staff is fixed.
Got it.
Yeah. So what I knew about the variable costs were those can change. I control those costs. If the marketing's not working, I can stop it. I can reallocate the money to something that does work. You're going to try a lot of stuff. It's not all going to work. Okay. So what?
Okay to fail?
Huh?
Is it okay to experience failures?
It's a guarantee, and it's healthy. You know, I think a lot of people are running from uncomfortability, but the truth is you need to run towards it. The more uncomfortable you get, the more comfortable your family gets. It's fact. The good thing about what we do is it's really not rocket science. We're working with 100% human capital, Rob. That means I'm working with your desires. I'm working with your drive, your work ethic. I'm working with what you're telling me, and I'm meeting you there. That's all human capital. Now I'm doing it at scale. So I'm trying to work with as many of you as I can, and then work within what you guys are building. And that takes time, but it's a well-worn path at this point where there's mentors everywhere. It's really just finding the one or two. Like I got guys that I talk to on a regular basis that aren't in my group. I got guys that I talk to every 3 months that aren't in my group. I got people that call me because they know my strength is in one area over maybe someone else. They use someone else for this. They use someone else for this. Like, you can't lose. I mean,
and don't run from your weaknesses, strengthen those. So as in the position that you're in now, looking into this business and you see yourself 6 years ago, what areas are you trying to strengthen? What are you going to coach yourself on 6 years ago to have exploded even more than you have?
Yeah. Meeting people where they're at. I was I'm going to tell you where you're at. I'm going to help you get to where you want to go. Meeting people where they're at. Number one. Number two would be at utilizing people's strengths, finding out what people are really good at and letting them shine in that place, because we're a sum of the team, right? So the more people have strengths, the more we can work together, the faster we can grow.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, the more we can work together, the faster we can grow, you know. And then I would say, you know, at a certain point, you're not as teachable, right? Like I experienced success real fast. I became a large portion of what we did for training and with other guys too. It's not, you know, but, you know, I think, you know, you got to put your ego aside and realize that, you know, you have the ability to be more of a vessel. You can be used more if you remain teachable, coachable, and trainable. So it's just like humble and hungry. I mean, I think that's the majority of my career, but I do think there's times where I lost my way over a 7-year period, and I've been frustrated, and I couldn't get my way out of frustration, and frustration overruled me, and I think that was healthy because I had to learn the other side of it. Learning how to navigate through some of those challenges are how you become a better business owner. I'm actually very grateful for my challenges and my struggles because it's how I became a better business owner. You know, learning how to work with staff and work with people has been amazing. Like I love the people side of our business. And learning how to let people shine and let people do their thing and really be independent. Staff, I mean, look, the amount of pressure. We run our company based on reports and numerical data. Basically, when it comes to accountability, And then we let them independently run their roles. There's a couple meetings a week, and almost it's like your work's going to show based on what you're bringing in and the quality. We also love to utilize, we're playing a lot on emotion with our marketing, and emotion's not just sad or melancholy. It could be funny. It could be, excitement. It could be, we're using a lot of that excitement, humor. It's just places that we've grown to that maybe I could have done sooner, but I'm glad it happened. I can't be mad at the way things turned out based on lessons that I had to learn at different stages of my business to go to where I'm going next. And the cool thing is helping other people learn these things quicker, because there's a lot of blood. I left pints of blood out there.
There's some things that you can start, that we could encourage everybody on this call to start seeing before it happens. Some storms that are going to come your way. Like you're literally running towards an axe that's going to take your head off if you don't see it. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of blood spilled when you're building. You're very similar. I should sound very similar to you because you're the boss here. I'm a stove toucher, and I have to touch it a couple times in order to really recognize that it's hot and that it's not good to touch it again. I know you've done that a couple times. What are a couple of things that you've touched that were way too hot, that you won't touch again, that again it can be actionable for us to prevent some heartache before it happens?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that, I was in on leads and lead purchasing at a really high level for a really long time. It's not the same system anymore, so it's kind of irrelevant. But there was a time where it was like, all right, I was buying, I don't know, I spent 85 grand on leads in a month before. You know what I'm saying? And I beat my chest, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, 90 next month. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
leads you have to have leads in this business, and leads is a great way to grow your business. I would put more money into staff. Staff is the fastest way to grow. It's faster than leads, faster than marketing. Staff. Marketing is a storm in a great way, because you can't get the traction on social media that you can get anywhere else. But if no one's working the social media, it doesn't matter. It's just a firestorm. So you need both. The marketing can get you there way faster with capable staff that can handle what's coming back or help propel or fan those flames. So marketing and staff is where I'd put a lot of my money. Lead, if I was ranking it, staff, leads, and marketing, 1A. Both of those would be 1A.
Yeah.
Because that would be the hierarchy. Before it was leads, marketing was like a distant, and it didn't exist. And then staff was my 1A. So I'd move that around. And that was that you want to talk about touching the stove. I mean, it wasn't anything that you could throw at me. If Sean threw something at me that I wasn't in on. Like, I would just be in on. Okay, let's go. All right, good. All right, let's roll. I mean, so, but again, you live and you learn, and you learn by trial, learn by fire, if you will. Like, you get baptized by fire.
So maybe touch the stove a couple times. It's not the worst thing.
It's not, because what I found out is that all those, no matter what you're doing, okay, and I think most of the people, the coup de grace and the pinnacle here is an integrity deal, okay? Getting a deal with integrity more, and maybe I shouldn't say that, because for some people, it's $5,000 a week and paying their bills successfully, and maybe getting out of debt or going out on a nice dinner, okay? So, or driving a nice car. But the pinnacle for us here at FFL is the ability to achieve an integrity marketing deal You can't get one if you didn't help a bunch of people. So it's a nice, one side you help a bunch of people, the other side you have a partnership with integrity. They go hand in hand. And it's a nice pinnacle. But you can't get there and continue to accelerate from there if it's not backed by some of the stuff we're talking about. And the burning of the fingers and creating a callus sometimes on your hand so that you don't feel that fire. You know, I used to be in the culinary business, and in the culinary business, it's hot. Like back there, saute, grill station, it's blazing hot. And we used to grade each other on who could touch the hottest pans for the longest, which means you've built up a callus in your fingers. Because if it's really hot, hot plates, hot pans, the first couple of times, it's too hot. But after a while, you could start holding a plate and you could touch a pan for 6, 8, 9 seconds, bro. You had more cred in the kitchen because you had more callus. Those people were probably some of the better cooks. Why? Dude, they just been doing it long enough. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? So you going out there, making a mess, being afraid, dude. Fear is fine. It's just not hiding from the fear. Being frustrated is okay. It's just not letting the frustration melt you into the ground. You know, I've been melted into, there's seasons where I melted into the ground. I was so frustrated. And it's like, but all of that taught me kind of what I needed for the next season. And that's kind of been my walk here.
I love that, man. So here's what I want to do. When I'm texting you about how fired up I am for you to be on this call, I'm going to quote you. All I do is drive in runs, baby. You're better at firing up a squad than most people at this company that are freaking alive today. I want the next 5 minutes or so. I want you to just drop some heat, talk about what you're excited about, some things that we could get very motivated by, and just go for it, man, because you're awesome at this.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. And for me, you know, I've been thinking
maybe RBIs.
I've been thinking a lot about the, you know, being where I was at, you know, literally 150 grand in debt, really not knowing what my next move was going to be, very frustrated in my work in the mortgage business and looking for an opportunity that could pave a way, just pave a way, bro. Not, you know, I would have been fine just not paying my bills, but getting out of debt. I would have been fired up about that, fired up. And, you know, along comes FFL. And to that point, I'd been in the insurance business 18 months and I didn't pay an ounce of debt off. Not 1 ounce of debt. I incurred more expenses because that was the way I was being told to build it. But I was also at a 55% contract. In order to rise your contract in that deal, it was like, it was going to take a while before you could really start seeing the fruit of your labor. I was on board, but it sucked. And 15 months later, after joining FFL, 150 grand in debt was paid off. And when I think about that, and when I think about anybody can do that, when I think about being that guy who was scared to death, and being that guy who then paid off his debt, who was then trying to climb the next mountain, which was I wanted to buy a house. And then once I did that, being that guy who could get his wife home from work, all that was great. But there kept being more levels. And I didn't know what they were because I only had 3 goals, Rob. I had the goal of getting out of debt, owning a home, and getting my wife home from work. That was it. But there were more levels. And those levels weren't like exclusive to Marc Meade. Dude, the amount of people that you're working with right now that are getting out of debt, that are owning their own homes, and that are, you know, retiring their spouses and or buying the cars they want or whatever, you're doing that. There were more levels. And every time I turned around, Sean was pushing the needle and I'm like, dude, when does this needle stop pushing? Well, the reality is this. Everyone on this call doesn't have what they want. and everyone on this call doesn't have what they need yet. So we're in no position to stop pushing, because the level of Integrity Marketing Group was like, what? Like, how is this even possible? Because 7 years ago, bro, all I wanted was to be able to successfully pay my bills. That's it. And to be at that level where, again, anyone on this call can get to. This is the thing I need you to understand. I'm no different. Rob's no different. Steve's no different than anyone on this call. Nobody's no different. And the difference is the ability to work past frustration diligently and seeing their goals come to pass. If I were you on this call, I'd be making some audacious, hairy goals. Because as long as you write them down and you work towards them, they're gonna happen. That's refreshing for me, dude. Like, I'm literally looking at stuff right now. I was talking to an agent who is a friend of mine. He sold me a car 8 years ago, and I brought him in this business 8 years ago, and now he's starting to do well. And I'm like, and we were talking the other night, and I was like, you know, he goes, I appreciate everything you're doing for me in my business. I said, dude, I'm so proud to see what you're doing. You know, being able, he came in nervous, shaking. Now I'm like, just remember this. If I didn't, you gotta keep moving, and you gotta build it. You need to build a business. I said, because he quit the car business 4 months ago. I said, if I didn't keep doing this, you would have been looking for another dealership. And he was like, wow, which is true, because he knew he had this as an out for 8 years. He's thought about coming over here and as his out. But if I didn't keep doing this, he would have just been looking for another dealership to go to. Changing his life in ways he never thought he could. That's all of you. All of you. If you keep on doing this, every goal you ever wanted is going to come to pass. Because the only difference between you and Rob Richmond is he's been doing it longer. Diligently doing it longer. He's been dialing longer. He's been talking to more agents longer. That's the only difference. So what I'd be doing is taking his information, taking the information that Steve's got, and I'd be asking them a ton of questions and getting around the fire. I'd be the guy on here, Rob, that's looking to give back as much as I possibly could. Because those guys always win. They always get rewarded. Trey Honeycutt is the example that came into the family. It wasn't the USA. It was the Family First Life universe that he came into. It wasn't just USA. He revolutionized FFL USA. Revolutionized it. Because he was so willing to help and so willing to jump in. But that information traveled 3,000 miles up and down the coast. But he was willing to put in a hand when the reward was not great. And now he's running an agency doing $2 million a month, looking to get a partnership with Integrity. That was 4 years ago. That wasn't 14 years ago. That wasn't 40 years ago. He's one of the most relatable people you'll ever meet, because he was the definition of average and ordinary, but so willing to give that his average and ordinary was extraordinary. Anybody can do that. We need to find a way to now start giving at a high level, really to the FFL banner. Because you're going to give to Apex, which gives to FFL. Does that make sense? Meaning, like, giving to the FFL banner. Everyone on this call has gifts, talents, abilities that other people don't have. We've all been designed differently, function differently, and have callings that are different. And all of that stuff is designed to help people. The instrument you chose today is life insurance sales. You have the ability to do that here at a high level. And if you set hairy enough goals, that high level that you're giving out to the world becomes your high level. And anybody can do that, man. So I hope it helps.
It's freaking awesome. Love you, man. Thanks for your time. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about all the growth and everything that's happening, dude. I can't wait to see that board member in front of your name in this month or the next. So you
April.
guys keep
Do it.
yes, sir. You guys keep killing it. Everyone goes up as the team goes up. Don't forget that. Appreciate you, Rob.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for your time today. Steve, you want to do some Q&A and a panel?
Yeah, absolutely. That was really impactful. And I know for you.
See how many calluses you got on there.
Yeah, it's a lot. I know for you as myself, you know, all that Marc did in the last 2 years and kind of where we started to being hosting calls is kind of incredible. So just want to thank him again.
We got a lot going on. You have anybody you want to point out? Because like, I don't want to pull teeth for questions. If there's no questions, we can end the call. But you guys, let's get these questions out so we can answer them. I don't want this to be like a third grade classroom and say, Janine Capuzzo, what questions do you have? Which you had some good ones. Janine, Marc's staff is going to be a little bit different than how we're going to build right now. He's probably got 7 or 8. Let's start with 1. That's a really good question, though.
Yeah, I think the thing, you know, you get 1 and you kind of, you know, it helps you immensely. You can talk to more people. You can manage your own business. You know, certainly a recruiter for sure is going to be the first place you go, but you just need somebody that's going to help you get the information to other people, get the opportunity.
Here's a pointed question. Of the 4 pillars that Marc talked about, how to build a business, right? We got leads, we got office, we got marketing, we got staff/office. Does anybody on here have questions about that piece of it?
Yeah, I got a question. So when you're running about 20,000 a month, what should you really be allocating towards the marketing side?
Who are you working with directly?
I'm actually out of Strength and Finance.
You're out of where?
Strength and Finance Northwest.
Oh, gotcha. You just jumped on the call.
Yeah, 100%. Okay,
cool. Yeah, I mean, I think you got a target. I think the magic number is probably going to be closer to 30. But depending on your overhead, you know, a recruiter, you know, maybe even before you get an office, get a recruiter, because that's going to multiply you out. The more duplication you can have, the better.
I'd say the thing with marketing too, like you can at 20, if you utilize social media correctly with algorithm, with hashtagging, with the amount of content you put out, with tagging so many other people that are in the group. I mean, hell, you tagging Matt Smith, for instance, is going to go to so many people. I think that's a way to do it where you don't have to spend any money. And then any money that you are going to spend at 20 would be a recruiter. And look, 20 is tight. I mean, Rob just said that 30 is kind of your number, but it also depends on how much you can live on. I mean, look, if you want to accelerate growth and you say, I write 20, you get really uncomfortable and you go pay a recruiter, whatever, $800 a week and get crazy uncomfortable. It's going to come back to you. It just might be 90 days of uncomfortability. And you know what's also going to happen? You're going to work harder and you're going to go from 20 to 30 fast because you know you have somebody to pay. It's just like when the lead bill comes. If you have a BPL of leads, there's no way you're not going to work them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Good question.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. All right, well, if there's no questions, we can wrap it, guys. Good luck to Steph and Chris. Let's have a record week. Last week was incredible. Let's work all of that business through the pipeline. Let's focus on IP for April. I know a personal goal for us is to hit 1.25. We've got a ton of business going into April. It's a 5-week month. Let's break our own records. Let's all get paid more. Let's protect as many families as we can and build this thing and blow the roof off of it. All right, guys? Thank you so much for being on the call today. Happy selling as always. Go protect American families and see you next week on the call.